So last week, I was on Bill J version 2's live stream. He does almost daily. And I had mentioned that one day I'd like to try to make a bell out of a couple Eisenhower dollars. And my only issue with that is where I live, it's hard to even get half dollars. And when I had said that to him, he graciously sent me two Ikes in the mail, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see if it's possible if I can make those bells out of Ikes, and I'll leave a link to Bill J's channel in my description below. So let's see if we can do that. The first thing we're going to do is our first coin, which is going to be the top of the bell. We want to have face up. That way we have the eagle facing out. Have it face up, and we put it in the closest fitting round in the block here. And then we'll go up to the press. I'm going to start with a number 24. Number 24 doming die. Make sure it's centered. Make sure we don't break this. Perfect center. And we'll go slow. Okay. That's a good start. Okay, now you want to go with the next size down. It fits in there fairly good. What's going to happen is we're going to lose that reeded edge, but we'll be sanding that off anyways to make the solder connection. Let's put that in there and see how that comes out. Pretty good start. We're going to go the next size down. We're going to use a number 20. Okay, well, that didn't come out so bad. It did take some of the detail off of the dollar, but we would have been sanding there anyways. It's got a decent dome to it. Onto the bottom. Now for the bottom, I'm going to show you how I make these repetitive jigs. This is dollar store cutting board material. I'm going to make up this jig just in case I ever do another one of these. You're going to find the center of your cut. So I'm going to make a half inch hole in this with the punch. So you measure the coin. You measure the coin. So in this case it was 1.5 inches. Then whatever die you're taking, whatever die you're gonna punch with, so in this case it's a 1/2 inch. You minus the 1/2 inch from the measurement. And then you go onto the coin like this, and you go all the way around making this line. You make this line all the way around. Just keep turning the coin and make a new line, make a new line, make a new line with a fine point Sharpie. And then I'll give you your perfect center. Just like that. This will allow you to put it into the punch and look down through and see where you're gonna punch the center out. Now let me punch out that center and I'll come back. You guys have seen this. Okay, so now they get your perfect center hole punched. This Sharpie will wipe right off a little. It's gonna come off when you heat it up anyways, but it'll come off with just a little rubbing like that. It doesn't stick to the coins. A little bit of Windex or glass cleaner. So when you're gonna make this card up, if you're gonna do these repeatedly, what you need to do is you're gonna make sure you have a card, you have a piece of cutting board that's gonna. There's your 1/2 inch hole. You want to make sure you've got enough space that's going to fit on your card when you make up the card. So what you're going to do is you'll get the card, you'll get your hole punched already. You're going to get the card and you're going to set it in there right up to the stops. Completely nice and tight up to the stops. And put this over and just make sure that you have enough room on this card to cut out for the coin. So I'm going to come over a little bit just like that. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take a couple of these smaller pins. And we want to be sure whatever pin we're going to use, it's not going to interfere with the coin once it's being cut. So that's good. We'll use that one and we'll use this little one here. And what we'll do is make sure it's nice and tight up there. Nice and tight against the stops. Drive that one in, and we're going to drive and let's use this one. That'll work. We'll drive those in. So now the card, once you've got that locked in there. So every time you put this back in there, it's going to be in the same place. Just like that. It'll never be able to change as long as you put those pins in there when you do your repetitive holes. So we'll put that 1/2 inch pin in there. We'll knock that out. And I'll come back. You're going to take the 1/2 inch punch that you used. And you want to get it back into the hole of the coin. And you want to get it about halfway. And this is a tight fit. So what we'll do is we'll drive that down in there with the vise, we'll drive that down in there with the press. And we'll come back on the next step. Okay. So now you're about halfway. It don't have to be completely halfway. The next thing you're going to do is get this piece that you marked. You put these punch holes in. You're going to put that on there like that. And you're going to take and draw around with your Sharpie. And then take a razor and just cut that out. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll trace around here and I'll show you when I come back. So there's your center hole. If you look, that's perfect. Perfectly centered hole. you cut out that round, and if you're gonna start making Ike bells, this will cut the hole perfectly centered every time. This is good for if you're doing coin rings too. This will help you with if you make these cards up for yourself instead of buying those centering jigs that are way too much money. This is a dollar you can make. I think I cut eight of these out of a dollar cutting board that my wife is going to throw away. If you look, if you look at what's used, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it was used up. She was going to throw it away. I said, well, let me use that for something. And that's cut that hole out, and you'll be able to use this as a jig every time. Put it in your drawer. It doesn't take up any space. That's how thin it is. Almost a couple pieces of paper. And there you go. Every time you put that in the jig with that coin, will slide right in the middle perfectly every time. Now onto the bottom. Let's get this pressed out. Okay, I'm gonna go into the press, and we're gonna use a number 22. Start this thing to turning. Get this centered. Come back. Okay. Now we've got it turned. Starting to turn. And sand these edges, and we're gonna anneal this so it doesn't crack when we stretch it. You get this coin nice and red, hot, and we dip it in the water and quench it, and then it'll enable us to be able to stretch. Let's see what we got. I need to stretch that bottom one a little bit more. I think what I'll do is I'll wrap this cloth around the base of this because it doesn't. It's reached its limit. It's reached its limit there. Let's see if I can get that to go a little bit. I'll tell you what, that cloth did the job. Pretty good matchup. It's a little off. Maybe I'll take a little more in the cloth on there again. It's not bad. Let me sand this up first and see how that works. Okay, now after you've got these nice and sanded, you want them sanded smooth, just like in the other bell videos. You're gonna flux both edges that you've sanded. Okay, now we're going to put the two halves together. Get them on there nice and even. Best you can anyways. Take our little coil of solder. And you want to set that in there so it goes just to the middle of the two pieces where the seam is. Let me get that there and I'll come back, get you a better view. Okay. And just like the other bells that I make, you're going to heat the bottom. You're going to heat from the bottom up. You just kind of make circles around them. Let me adjust this little piece of solder. When it gets hot enough, that solder is going to suck right into that seam. It doesn't look like it, but it did go all the way around. So now we're going to drill the hole in the center of the bell there. What I done, I drilled a hole in the middle of the punch out, that 1/2-inch punch out, and I've put one of these brads through here just like this. I'm gonna do and get my hands to work today. I'm gonna bend over a nice hoop like that. Just like that. Get it to focus. There you go. And you know I have these pins shaped, brads shaped like a J all the time. Always ready. And closes up on that. so it could swing free. And let's get it into the, feed it up through that center hole. And we'll hear it for the first time. Perfect. Let me get it cleaned up. I'll finish up. I'll put my hoop on it. I'm going to put a little bigger hoop on this one, just because it's a bigger bell. I get a nice hoop on there for this one. See how big we can get this. Get this nipped off. Get this thing shaped up for us here. There we go. My first Ike bell. Get it so it balances off nice. There you go. Let me get it cleaned up and I'll come back. Okay. Here we go. Fingers out of the way. Let me zoom in for you a little bit so you can see the detail on this. I usually don't get the detail all that good. Of course. Sorry about that. Is the eagle. E pluribus unum. That's where it says $1. And the Prested. Knock it up a little bit there, but there you go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.